Hey, welcome back, and we're on issue 19. It's not the best issue miniatures-wise. It's the final sprue for the Munitorum armoured containers. Let's get it open. Let's get rid of this rattly plastic. Right, okie dokie. So, we'll have a look at the plastic briefly in a mo. Let's have a look at the magazine. So we've got a picture of a Primaris chaplain on the front. It says new terrain models, but they're not new. We've had two before. Learn about the Reclusium and use grenades in a new playthrough. So, Munitorum Battle Zone, smog-filled industrial centres. So this is just giving you some information on, I would think, the industrial areas. It also gives you some information on things like cargo trains, Imperial shipping transport vessels, galvanic servo haulers, etc. And then obviously on the back you've got a little battle record for your refinery moon of Megaria. So you can name a Munitorum sector. You've got a couple of little D6 random name generators. So Munitorum sector name D6 chart. So Quadrant Prometheus, Omniscire Primus, Sector Septum Gamma, Fabricus Munitoria, Fabricatum Megaria, our Refinery Dominus, and then what it produces is either refined promethium, military explosives, laser focusing crystals, bionic enhancements, hardened armor plates, or Medicae oxygen supplies. So all interesting stuff. And then obviously there's another random D6 generator for location. We'll then go into some info about the Space Marines Reclusium. So the chaplains who are concerned with the spiritual heart of the chapter. And then just some information on their Crozius Arcanum and the Rosarius that chaplains are adorned with and armed with. We then have In Search of Immortality, The Awakening, which is just basically information on Necron, Awakening, etc. Information 1,000 Empires and the Triarch. We've then got another how to build, so a triplicate now of how to build the Armatorum, the armoured Munitorum containers, so I'll skip that. And then we have some how to paint, again slightly different paint schemes I think from last time. We're then looking at War in the Factorum. So no longer is the fighting on Megaria contained within the Necron's tomb complex. Now the fighting has spilled out across the moon's barren surface and turned into an all-out war. As they push into abandoned Factorums and Mechanicus facilities, the Ultramarines find themselves beset on all sides by phalanxes of Necron warriors led by newly awakened Necron nobles. Mission briefings. The Necrons have now fully awakened and emerged from their subterranean stasis crypts to repel the Space Marines. The Ultramarines plan to engage and eliminate the Necron's noble commanders before their Xenos soldiers overrun the moon's industrial centres. So, Royal Warden, seize the Factorum. Awoken from their slumber, the Zarakan dynasty's Royal Wardens are overseeing Necron efforts to harvest and reprocess Megaria's resources. The Necrons must secure the city and prevent the Space Marines from securing any of the moon's production facilities and further fueling their offensive in the Pariah Nexus. And the Primaris captain is ambush the nobles. The Ultramarines strike force are commanded by a Primaris captain of the Ultramarines 2nd Company. Mine isn't. He's a company captain from the Dark Angels. He must lead his assault intercessors through Megaria's Manufactorum and Mechanicus sectors and ambush the Necron's battlefield leaders. If his forces can disrupt the enemy, perhaps the refineries and other facilities can be secured. So flipping it over, we have we're playing with the Royal Warden and 10 Necron warriors and the Primaris Captain and 5 assault intercessors. We're also playing on the large playmat with all of the Munitorum armoured container pieces that we have gathered over the last few issues. There's also some data sheets here on grenades, and we've got the 2 main types of grenade that are for the Adeptus Astartes, and they are frag grenades, which are basically anti-personnel grenades, and crack grenades, which are primarily anti-armour. We then go into the playthrough. In this one, it's giving you some tactical tips as well. Moving and advancing. When deciding whether to make a normal move or advance, there are many factors to consider. If a unit will not be in range to shoot this turn, regardless of how far it moves, an advance may get them close enough to the enemy to shoot and charge them during your next turn. This is advantageous when using close range and melee focused units such as assault intercessors and Primaris Captain. So there we go. So we've got the turn by turn playthrough. So Space Marines play first, turn 1, then Necrons turn 1, Space Marines turn 2, then Necrons turn 2. Okay, so we then got this on the back page. War on Sithos. New models, new paints, new scenery. In issue 21 to 40 of Imperium, the war for the Ramesses system escalates. As the conflict spreads to the fortress moon of Sithos, the Adeptus Mechanicus join the fight. So it sounds that within the next 20 issues or so, we are going to get all of the Adeptus Mechanicus models, and it looks like we're going to get a significant amount of scenery models, be that the pipelines or the buildings, the ruined buildings. It also says here, Adeptus Mechanicus, in issues 21 to 40 of Imperium, the Adeptus Mechanicus march onto the battlefield to reinforce their Space Marine allies, dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge and the almighty Omnissiah. They seek to utterly destroy the foe. Necrons, awakened and angered by the Imperial assault on the Ramesses system, the Necrons launch an assault on the fortress moon of Sithos. You'll receive yet more Necron models to reinforce your growing legions and android killers. Now, if you follow Foehammer and Palette of the Dead, we already know that in, I think it might be issues 29 and 30, we are getting the second set of 10 Necron warriors. We also have some information on the reverse side of the battle mats. So we're getting we were told we were getting a battle mat that should have been included in issue 18. We're getting it included in issue 21, which I have got. And on the reverse of that battle mat, it's going to look like that. Okay, so this is the reverse of the first battle mat we got, large battle mat we got in issue 4. And what the magazine is saying is that this and the next battle mat we get, when placed together, will form a larger cohesive board. Okay, so there's a little diagram here that just shows that it does butt up against and match the mat on issue 4. And then when we flip it over, it does go into show 2 paints. I know people's feelings about paint issues. I'll talk about that in the next issue. And then obviously the Skitarii Rangers in issues 21 and 22. So there you go. The plastic, again, we've seen this countless times. So, you know, that's it. I've done it. I've looked at the plastic a couple of times. It was originally sculpted in 2016. And yeah, that's it. What I will do is we will have a look at some different paint colour schemes for barrels and crates rather than build these again. All right, join me in the next video. What I'm going to do, as I said in the first bit of the video, is instead of showing you how these things are built, I'm going to show you some quick and easy paint schemes. So what I'm going to start off with is the ammo crates, and I'm ex-military, and ammo crates are either green or brown, basically, to me. So I've gone with green, and I've gone with making a base colour of Dark Angels green, contrast paint, which basically I just make sure that I cover the whole of the ammo crate. And you're probably going to need a couple of coats. The base coat I've put down on, or the undercoat I've put down on this, these terrain pieces, these pieces of scatter terrain, is Death Guard green. And that's the base colour that I start with, and I use this base colour for all of the painting that I do for crates and barrels. So that's what I do for my ammo crates. And once you've got a good even coverage on them, essentially these are just going to be finished off in the same way that we did the armoured container. So my next colour that I'm going to throw down onto the ammo crates is going to be Deathcore Drab as a dry brush. So and essentially you'll just do that all over, and obviously where it doesn't quite get into all the corners, the dark shade will show through. And then from there I am going to go with Elysian green as the next highlight colour. And I'm going to use this, you know, I'm not even going to bother cleaning out the brush because it doesn't matter too much. And essentially that's just going to get a flick on so that most of the raised areas are covered on this. And essentially you'll end up with an ammo box looking something like that. Now you can go in and do the usual. I'm actually going to come in and paint Dark Reaper on the Imperial Aquila. And the reason I'm going to do that is, do it that colour, is it makes it slightly more tactical. When being used, you know, as a ammo box. So all I'm going to do is just literally brush over the Aquila like so. And then when that's dry, I will go over it with a slightly lighter grey to give it a little bit of definition. And that's basically, you know, all I'm going to do. If you want to, you can add in some chipping effects around the lid and the hinges. If not, it's perfectly fine as it is. So we have some crates that we've just done, and we got some barrels. Now, I have painted some of the barrels in the previous iterations that we've had. I have painted, and again, these have just been done in the style of the Munitorum containers that I did. So they've been painted Dark Angels green and highlighted with drab, and then a tiny amount of Elysian green. You can see how they are, and then I've just made black Aquillas, or painted the Aquillas black, I should say, and then the taps were painted with lead belcher, and then I've added in some non-oil and Agrax Earthshade in places. So that's all I've done with those. I've got two other barrel colours that I've done. So I've done yellow, and this was just Avalon Sunset, and painted all over the barrel, given it a couple of coats, and then I've just gone over the Aquila. I will use lead belcher to just paint in the cap on the top, which is what I did on the other one, and also the tap. Doesn't matter if you get a little bit of silver paint elsewhere whilst you're painting this in, simply because at the end of the day it can just be treated as a chip to the paintwork. So there you go, and I've done the same here on the green one. You might kind of recognise this colour scheme as being the Castrol GTX colour scheme. I thought it'd be quite fun. And with the green and whitish colour scheme, the Castrol colour scheme, all I've done is used Ulthwyn Grey as the centre, and just kept it within the bands. So that's just going on quite nicely. And you'll probably need to do a few coats for this one. Just this particular Ulthwyn Grey. So I've finished up just painting the barrels, and all I've done is painted the Aquila and the skull black. I've left it yellow on the other one, black on the green and white one. What I'm going to do now is just add in some chipping. So to me, you know, you're going to get a lot of chip in around where the cap is, and then plenty of chipping around the base, obviously where they roll it around, etc. So That's kind of what I'm doing chipping wise. If you want to add in a bit more chipping around the top, you can do. I'll do that for both of these. So chip in around the base. And then chipping around where the cap is. You can add in a bit of chipping elsewhere. Then what I'm going to do is using some Dark Reaper again, and I'm not going to dry brush, but I'm going to kind of over brush. So it's not full on dry brushing, but I'll go for an over brush just to bring out some of the detail on this, and the same on here. If you want to just add in some scuff marks, can do. Like so, and on this one, and I'm also just going to do a little bit on there. What I'm then going to do is use some Fenrisian Grey just to highlight up the eagle like so, and obviously the skull on the back of this one like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some Agrax Earthshade on the yellow, and first of all I'm going to deposit some around the lid to obviously look like spills, and you can bring that down as in a drip. Quite often if you get a drip and it meets a ridge, it pulls again before coming down. And around the I'm just going to add in some dirt around the rings there. And you can go as far or as, you know, little as you want. and you end up with something looking like that. And I'll do the same for this one. Just adding in, I'll do this all the way around this time. And what I'll do is, I won't come straight down the front, but we'll come off just to the side, like that, over the Aquila and then down, and obviously we will have that coming along the bottom. Do the tap again, just a little bit more along there. Okay, and again you just end up with something like that. And if you want to, you can again show the oil that's spilt and pulled down. Like so, and then just leave those to dry. So, coming to the end of it, I have my ammunition crates. I have simply done the Dark Angels green followed by the Deathcore drab. The Aquila was then painted with Dark Reaper and then highlighted with Fenrisian grey, just literally as a soft overbrush. The oil drums, as you can see, they're just in this kind of style. You don't have to go mad. They are only terrain pieces. So this is how I've done the oil drums. Now, one thing I did do with some other oil drums that I had prior to these sets coming through on Imperium, and that is, for anyone that might have some of these lying around, the old Space Marines vehicle transfer sheet. Now, if you see, we have a number of warning triangles here, red and yellow warning triangles. We also have some diamonds with some skulls in here, obviously circles with skulls in. Now, there's nothing stopping you from using these transfers as warning indicators on the barrels, and I will show you these barrels that I did previously last year, and I've used the transfers. You can see I've used like warning triangles and the transfer with the skull in it to indicate that it's, you know, deadly contents, that sort of thing. The green barrels, I've put yellow triangles on, you know, and they're just some of the things that you can do with your barrels if you want to just add in a little bit extra. But there you go, that's how I'm painting my barrels and crates for the Imperium magazine Munitorum Containers. Happy modelling!